Hey everyone, Wayne here. Today we're going to do a playthrough tutorial and review of Aurelian, Restorer of the World. This game, designed by Tom Russell, published by Hollandspiele, is the third entry in the 3-cup system, a solitaire game designed by Tom Russell. The other games, and one that I've looked at on my channel, is Agricola, Master of Britain, and then there's Charlemagne, Master of Europe. I have not covered that one. This one kind of reverts back a little bit more of the simpler compared to Agricola. On that level, there are some parts of it that are even, that have actually had things removed. Specifically, I'm talking about the combat system, that really kind of reduce the actual game time overall, and then reduce things down so that you're able to finish an entire game, even if it goes the full 6 turns, which doesn't happen often, trust me, to well under an hour, I would say. So I have it all set up right now. Kind of quick overview here. So again, it's a solitaire system. 3 cups, I called it. What that means is that there are 3 cups called the friendly cup, the unfriendly, and the hostile. Now I have them off the map, off camera. You can't see them, but basically it's 3 different cups. The chits are set up in these cups to begin with. And then as you're playing and conducting actions, there's going to be cup adjustments. So you're going to have units, chits in each cup moving from, say, the friendly to the unfriendly, or unfriendly to hostile. And then you're going to have hostile reactions, they're called. So every time you do an action, depending on your action, you're going to have that hostile cup. You're going to draw from it. And whatever chit you pull is going to have a certain thing. It's going to be placed somewhere on the map. There's going to be a certain consequence to that action. So the way the system is designed is that there's always a consequence to everything you do. So you may do something that's a little more peaceful, so maybe there won't be a big, maybe you'll only draw 1 chit from the hostile cup. But say you conduct a battle, well, you're going to be drawing 2 chits from the hostile cup. That just shows that there's, greater consequences to what you're actually doing. So like I said, I have the game all set up here. You are playing as Aurelian, Restorer of the World. You start off, you have your chit here in Moesia, and you're going to be moving around, and you're able to recruit officers to help you. You're going to, if you want to. Otherwise, you're going to be moving around to the different spaces, moving from space to space, conducting different actions. Right now, as it sets up, you have the 2 usurpers that have split the empire. Out in the west, with parts of Gaul and Britannia, you have Posthumous, usurper up here, blue. You control, obviously, red, which is Italy, Transalpine Gaul. You have green here, the Balkans. And then there's the eastern part of the empire, Nicomedia, Judea, Antioch, etc., Egypt, that's controlled by Zenobia. So your goal, the only way to win, is going to be to basically reunite the empire. You have to remove Posthumous and Zenobia as usurpers and reunite the empire. While you're doing that, you have to maintain a certain threshold of victory points. As the turns go by, and you can just, if you look at the very bottom of the screen, you can see the turn track here. There's a little number on the bottom. And as you're keeping track of the victory points, you're gaining victory points for certain things. And again, this is going to be a playthrough, so we're going to go through it. You're going to have a minimum per turn. Assuming you meet that minimum, perfect. You just go on to the next turn. You don't meet it, you lose. There are multiple other ways to lose. There's basically one way to win, which is to reunite the empire. And there are, I don't know, half a dozen ways to lose at least. So anyway, I think that's a good overview of the game. I'll kind of describe the different chits and stuff, each of them as we encounter them during our playthrough. So I'll try to run through a playthrough quick, and then I'll give you my final thoughts at the end. All right, let's go ahead and begin with our first action. We can basically, the nice thing of this game, it's like a sandbox. You can kind of do whatever you want. So we have Aurelian down here in Moesia. Now, looking at the board here, obviously, like I said, there's a couple things, right? We got to reunite the empire, so we got to get rid of Posthumous, we got to get rid of Zenobia. I don't know if we're really prepared for that yet on the first turn, so we probably aren't going to go charging into their parts of the empire, although you could try. I mean, it's a really kind of a sandbox game. You kind of do whatever you want to do, but we're going to do something a little different. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to conduct, and there's a bunch of different list of actions. I'm not going to cover every single little thing, but, as we encounter them, I'll explain them. We're going to conduct a march action. To do that, you're able to, before any action, you can conduct 1 movement. So we can, before we do our march, we'll move from Moesia to Dalmatia. And from there, the march allows us to do an additional free movement as long as there are no enemy units in the box. And so we're going to go ahead and move to, let's move to Pannonia here. We've completed our action. Now for each of the actions, there's going to be several things you're going to run through. And there's actually a really nice player aid that comes with the game that really explains everything. You can go ahead and have that next to you, which I have right now. It explains everything you're going to have to do as a result of each action. Remember I mentioned drawing from the cups, things like that. So with the march action, went ahead and moved. You would look at if you have a cup adjustment, move from friendly to unfriendly, unfriendly to hostile. There are none for the march action, so that's good. However, there's one hostile reaction. So what that means, go ahead and grab that hostile cup and just shake it up first to make sure they're all mixed up. And you go ahead and draw one chit. And now we're doing it random here, so I'll just describe whatever it is. Okay, so that is a barbarian unit. Barbarian unit. So what happens with barbarians when you draw them? They are going to attack you somewhere along the Danube. So you can see the Danube frontier here. It is armed with our legions right now. Each of the legions, so you can see the nice purple with the legionary eagle on there. You can see the number 2. That means they're a strength of 2. Every one of these has a strength of 2. And then these are a strength of 1. So it's not a separate counter, but it's written on the map. 1 and 1. Although at the moment, because Posthumus controls that part of the frontier, he would be responsible for defending it. So we'll see if we roll that to get to it. Right now, we control this part. So whenever you draw a barbarian like that out of the hostile cup, you go ahead and you roll your 1d8 that comes with the game. And it'll tell you where he's going to attack. You roll a 5, so if you can look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's a little spot right here. So he's going to attack the 5 spot, which you go ahead and look at our legion. We have a legion with a 2 attack value there, or 2 strength, I should say. Then you go ahead and you're going to roll because he's going to attack it. So what you're looking at is you roll 1d8 plus the strength of your legions there. So a 2, so it'll be plus 2. And then if you have any walls built in that region. So if you look down for each region, so there's the green, red, blue, yellow. There's usurper box, which in instance we have Zenobia in, we have Posthumus in. There's a temple. You can build temples, which will give you victory points. You can build walls, which is what we're talking about here, which is actually going to be, and then that's the symbol for the area. But the wall would be, they would help you in defense when the barbarians attack along the Danube. Fortunately for us, no walls have been built yet. You don't start out with any. So it's just going to be the plus 2 for the legion. We roll our 1d8, and we have to roll greater than the barbarian strength of 5. We roll a 1, plus 2, that's a 3. We are defeated. So unfortunately for us, we lose both legions. So go ahead and take them out of the map. And you put the barbarian, and he takes over that spot. That is not good for us. So that is the resolving a hostile reaction. And that's one example of the many, and we're going to counter some more. So let's go ahead and do another action here. All right, so what I'm thinking is we're going to need some more coins. Right now we start, our income is at 13 coins, and our treasury is at 5. That's not great. So what I want to do is I want to conduct a campaign. What that means, so I'm going to do the campaign action, is assuming you're in the right color area. You see these are barbarians, and I have them on the other side. So this is the side with their combat value. Remember that 5 there. This one's a 6. Either way, when they're sitting in here, these are barbarian pools. There's for blue, for red, and for green. These you can actually go and conduct a campaign against. There's also a chit that eventually gets put in the hostile cup that if you draw it, basically sends them against your forces on the Danube and wreaks havoc and costs you money. It's terrible when it happens. So you kind of want to reduce the amount of barbarians that are sitting in these pools. Imagine as like barbarians, you know, that are building up outside the empire, waiting to strike. So I want to conduct a campaign. So what I'm going to do is, if Aurelian, he's the one I'm activating for the campaign, I'm not going to do any movement because he's in a green area right now, and I want to be in a green area because I want to attack this green barbarian pool. And go ahead and look. If there's no usurper, no enemy in the box, I can conduct it. Now what I do is I look over here at this campaign table because I'm conducting a campaign. I'm going to look at the number of barbarians in the pool, which right now it's just 2. So this column right here. And then I'm going to roll the die. I'm going to add my leadership value, which is +1. And I'm going to add the strength of my army. Now, there's the forces on the Danube, but they're kind of static, right? They are defending the empire on the frontier. They're not going anywhere unless you do a redeploy action. That's another action you can take. But right now, they're just static. What we have down here is our army. Let's think of it more as the mobile army, the part that's going to campaign with the Emperor. Right now we're at a 2. That's where you start at. You can increase the strength as time goes by. So a 2 plus 1 for our leader, so that's a total of plus 3. So we roll a 1d8 plus 3. A 2, so not great. It's only 5. And we'll look at the campaign table. We go ahead and go down to the 2 here, number of barbarian units. Remember, roll a 5, 1/1. So what that means is we lose 1 army strength, and we gain 1 coin. So over here in our treasury, income and treasury, we can go from 5 to 6 coins. And then we won, right? I mean, really what it is that assuming you're carrying out the attack, you're quote-unquote going to win. What you do is you go ahead and eliminate the barbarians out of that pool. You place them in the dead pool here. So don't confuse the different pools. The dead pool is something you resolve later. If you've played Agricola, Master of Britain, you're going to be really familiar with the dead pool. So you go ahead and you place them aside. And we've now completed our campaign action. So now we look at the cup adjustments. This one does have a cup adjustment. It's 1 friendly moves to the unfriendly. So again, I know they're off the screen, they're off the video, but I have my friendly, unfriendly, hostile up here. Kind of maybe see the edge now. I'm gonna go ahead and from my friendly, draw random, place it in the unfriendly, shake it up a little bit here. So, all right, and now we resolve 2 hostile reactions. So again, we take our hostile cup, shake it up, draw first one. Oh, barbarian again. Barbarian with a 4 strength. So let's see where he attacks. A 1. So what's going to happen is he attacks the 1 spot over here. Now, if you look at it, remember I mentioned that if the usurper controls it, which in this case, it's posthumous out here. He's attacking over here. He basically takes care of it. You don't roll for it or anything like that. He takes care of the barbarian. Barbarian is automatically put in the barbarian pool for the blue region. However, because he is forced to take care of it, it looks bad for us. It looks bad for Aurelian that someone else is taking care of the empire over there, right? Kind of diminishes us. So we have one of 2 choices. We can either lose a victory point or we can lose a coin. We're at 0 victory points, and if you go to negative, you lose the game automatically. So we're not going to do that. We have 6 coins. We gain an extra coin from that. We started with 5. We gained an extra one from our campaign. So unfortunately, we're going to lose that extra one now. We're going to go back down to 5. You're constantly struggling with your income and your treasury. You're never going to have enough money for anything. At least now, I should say, you're never going to have enough money for everything you want to do. You'll have money for some stuff, but not for everything. And that was a big part of, especially at this point of the empire, looking at, the late 2nd century AD. Inflation was rampant. Treasury was basically bankrupt. There wasn't a whole lot of gold, a whole lot of money to go around. So it really reflected in the way that the income and treasury is taken care of in the game. So, all right, that was I believe that was the first one, right? So now we still have another hostile shit to resolve. Let's go ahead, hostile reaction. All right, end turn. So what you do, we have a turn end marker. There are 2 of them in the hostile cup right now. You may notice there's another one down here at the turn track on turn 4. Once you go ahead, you place it in the dead pool. Just place the first one. Once you get a second one, then the turn actually ends. So the first one's a freebie, kind of lets you know, uh-oh, you're getting close to the end of the turn. You may not have as many actions left as you want to be able to take. So, all right. So we went ahead, we did a camp, and that was the final one. So we're done with the action, we're done with the reactions and everything. Kind of not liking my army strength being down to a 1, because if it gets to 0, you lose. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a redeploy action. I can do it from here. Let's see. Yep. Enemy free box and no usurper in green, which there's no usurper, so I can do it. So I'm going to do the redeploy action. What that does is it lets me reassign all my forces on the Danube along with my army strength, kind of mix and match, as well as it displaces the barbarians that are on the Danube. So this 5 here that was at number 5, he gets his butt kicked out of here over to the pool. Now we have to have a minimum of 1 legion at this spot. So we're going to go ahead and just reduce this adjacent one. You can do any one you want. I'm going to go ahead and just reduce, take him away. So now they're both at a 1. So it was it was 2 legions and he was 0, remember, because the barbarian was there. We got rid of him. So now we're going to go ahead and get rid of this, which makes 1 and 1. So that way the math evens out. All right, so now I'm looking at my forces. Let's see, I have 2, you can't go down to 0, so these are going to stay at 1 no matter what. But I have 4 extra, quote-unquote, legions I could maybe play with here. So let me go ahead, This 8, get rid of him, which drops to 1, which means I got 1 extra. I'm going to put in my army. And let's reduce the force at 7. And I'm placing my army, giving me a total army strength now of 3. It's like redeployed 2 legions from the frontier to join my army here. They marched over and joined me in Pannonia. So, yeah, I suppose I'm good with that. Well, yeah, we'll stick with that for now. So I think that'll be good for now. We'll see. All right, so that was the redeploy action. You're going to go ahead and do the cup adjustment. So you go ahead and draw. This one is a friendly, goes to unfriendly. And I know you guys can't see the cups, but all I'm doing is I'm moving one from one to the other, and then drawing from it if required. Which in this case we have 1 hostile reaction. So we get our hostile cup. Go ahead and draw from it. All right, so we drew a unit. So this one's an enemy actually. So what we're looking at, a couple different things here. I'll kind of point out now that we've actually drew one. So you can see there's some on the map already. You can see there's yellow ones over here, the blue ones, red ones. Those are all part of setup. So you have 2 sides to it. There is the resistance side, which it'll list the area. In this case, Palmyra. It has the logo, the symbol for the yellow region. And then it has a resistance value on there, which is 5. There's also this side, which just is white. It has the symbol, and then it has a combat value. So what we're looking at now, if you look at the board again, let's go back to the board here. You can see I have some enemy units here in Italy in the red region. Then there's a bunch in blue and yellow. Now, if you blue and yellow, you notice are all on their backside, the combat value side. However, the ones here in Italy are on the resistance side. That just represents that right now I control Italy. However, there are some unhappy people. So in Ravenna and in Rome, there are unhappy people. They're showing some resistance to my regime. However, they're not an open revolt, right? They're not fighting me. However, if you look over, Gallia, Belgica, Aquitania, Britannia, the East, Nicomedia, Palmyra, Judea, etc., they're fighting, right? Those are basically troops, open rebellion style. So the game, it's really clever how it controls, basically depending on where they're flipped, what they are. Now, when you draw it, it's a hostile reaction here. We drew our hostile shit. Now, what do we do? Well, we look at where it is. It's the yellow unit over here. It's Palmyra. Palmyra, because there's a usurper here. And there's a chart that tells you exactly what to do, but it's really easy. Once you've done it a few times, you look. It's very simple. For instance, if there's a usurper in the whole region, which there is, and Obe starts off there, you go ahead, you place it. So we're going to place in Palmyra, and you place it on the combat value side. Boom. Very simple. All right, and that was the 1 hostile reaction to our redeploy action. So now we're free, and we're free to just keep taking any actions we want. Now, if we ever decide we're like, you know what, I don't want to take any actions, I kind of want to end the turn, you can do that voluntarily. However, you do still draw 2 more hostile chits. So it's not like, well, it's just, oh, cool, I can just stop here and I know nothing bad's going to happen. No, you're still going to draw 2 more, so you may end up doing something bad. Something bad may end up happening no matter what anyway. So, all right, what should we do here? I'm not liking our guys down in Ravenna and Rome here having this little bit of a resistance to me. So let's go ahead and head that way. Let's do the march action. Right now, Aurelian's in Pannonia. Let's go ahead and move him to Noricum. As the freebie move. And as part of the march action, we'll move him to Germania. And we'll go ahead and just stand by there. Now we have to finish out our hostile reactions. For march, there's just 1 and no cup adjustment. So go ahead and draw. Little barbarian. 7 strength. Ooh, that's a toughie. Go ahead and roll to see where he attacks. 6. So thankfully, maybe thankfully, he's going to attack our legions there. So we have a 2 there. Go ahead and roll. 4 plus 2 is 6. It's not greater than, so unfortunately, he defeats our legion there and displaces it, or destroys it, and takes over that spot. Bummer. All right, well, that was it for the hostile reactions at least. So it was only the 1. Now let's go ahead and do a suppress action. Now, suppress action is limited to when you have these guys with the resistance side up. If we were moving to Gallia over here, Gallia, if we're moving to Gallia, it would be, because it's on the combat side, we'd have to conduct a battle, because it's the CV side. So, again, we're on the resistance side. So what we're going to do is we're going to do our suppress action. Remember, we get a free movement as part of our action. So we move from Germania to Ravenna, and we're going to go ahead and conduct suppression. We go ahead and we roll. We compare it to our leadership, and we just have to get greater than whatever the top unit is that is listed, is shown here. So there's 2 units. When it comes to resistance, you don't count both of them. You just look at the top one. If it's a battle, you go ahead and you would look at both. So you would add those up, say 2 and a 1, so that'd be a total of 3. In this case, we just have to defeat the 1 here. So we have a +1 for Aurelian. Go ahead and roll. 8 + 1, 9. Easily defeat these guys. So what you do, go ahead and remove them to the dead pool. So we've basically, you know, cleared Ravenna and any sort of resistance there is. And we go ahead and we look at our down the line, so cup adjustment, friendly to unfriendly. And then hostile reactions, there's 2. So unfortunately, we have a hostile cup here. Draw. First one, barbarian unit. Ugh, these guys. Barbarians, man. Alright, so we go ahead and roll. See where they were going to attack. You rolled a 3, so you can go ahead and attack our legions there. He only has a 4, though. Boom, so our 6 plus our 2 there for legions. It's an 8, greater than. He is defeated. You go ahead and place him in the barbarian pool. Good job, guys. Alright. Shake it up a little bit. Not looking. Draw from the hostile cup. Barbarians again. Alright, 7. 7 strength, your attacks. 7, so you're going to go ahead and attack this 1 legion area. Ooh, not good. 3, so 3 + 1, 4. He defeats us. So our 1 legion is gone. He takes over that area. Now, the barbarians have 2 areas here along the Danube that they control. If they get a 3rd, you lose. So we're going to have to redeploy and kick them out of there. We can't redeploy right now, though. So we could. Well, I don't know if we can or not. But we don't have any. We only have 1 extra legion. So anyway, let's go ahead and let's see what we're going to do here. Go ahead and put that hostile cup out of here. I don't like the hostile cup. Get it out of here. All right. So we're sitting in Ravenna right now. We need some more money. So what we're gonna do? Let's do a march action. No. I guess we can technically launch a. We're in a red area, so we can go ahead and launch campaign. Let's launch campaign for now, or right now. So we're gonna launch campaign as our action. So Aurelian's gonna launch campaign. We're in red, so we have to do against these 2 barbarian units right here. So remember, campaign table, check number of barbarians 2. Go ahead and check this column right here. We're going to roll our 1d8 + 1, plus we have an army strength of 3, so total +4. 1 + 4 is 5. 2, 5. So 1 and 1. I think we did that last time too. So our army strength goes down by 1, and we gain 1 coin. We do defeat them, so they go into the dead pool. I was hoping to get more money. I was hoping to roll a little better instead of a 1. In fact, actually, now that I think about it, let me double check here, guys, because I think rolls with an unmodified 1 always count as a 1. Okay, that's what I thought. So it wasn't actually a 5, it was just a 1, which 2 barbarians rolled a 1. We suffer 2 losses and gain no coins. So I should go down to 1 army. We still win? I think we still win it. It's just, you know, we got savaged. Okay, yeah. So we still defeat them in the sense that they're limited, brought to the Deadpool. Forgot about that. I can't remember if we rolled a 1 before. We may have, in which case we may have been in more trouble than I thought. Oh well. Mistakes happen. Oh well. Sorry, guys. So anyway, now you know. If you roll a 1, natural 1 like that, your modifiers don't matter. So, another example of the difficulty of this game. So we march down to 1. Okay, 1 army strength. Go over to them, etc., etc. All right. Okay, that's it for the battle. Now we'll do the cup adjustment. So 1 friendly goes to unfriendly. 1 unfriendly goes to hostile. Go ahead and shake up the hostile cup. For a campaign, excuse me, there's going to be 2 hostile reactions. So the first one, a unit goes to Judea, so he'll just go ahead on his combat value side. And we'll draw 1 more. That's another one over there. So Tiana, he goes over there on his combat value side. So, all right. Our army's looking pretty. We're getting rocked this turn. I'm telling you, the first turn we're getting rocked. I don't know if I had a first turn this rough before. So, Let's go ahead and let's move. We're going to do a march. We're going to march to Noricum. So we'll march Germania, then to Noricum. Go ahead and do our hostile reaction. It is Tiana again. This over here. And now let's go ahead and do a campaign. So what we're going to do is move to Pannonia and conduct our campaign against the barbarians here. We have 1 and 1, so the total of 2. So I really need some coin. So die roll plus 2 against him. 3, 4, 5. Total of 5, 0, 0. So no money. We do eliminate him, but fortunately we don't get any money out of this deal. So that was a bad idea to campaign there, apparently. All right, now we go ahead and do the cup adjustment, friendly to unfriendly. And now there are 2 hostile reactions. Barbarian, he's a 4. He rolls an 8, so he's going to go ahead and attack right here. So our 1 legion will defend. Rolled a 4, plus 1 is 5, so we do defeat him. If we had rolled any worse, so if we rolled a 3 or less, we would have lost. He would have taken over. It would have been 3, and we would have lost the game. All right, now the second hostile reaction. End turn. Okay, so stop the suffering. All right, now we're at the end turn. So let's go ahead and run through the last turn phases here, and then I'll kind of go to my final thoughts to review. I was going to do a full playthrough, but we just got rocked this first turn, so I'd say it's probably impossible for you to win the game. But let's just go ahead and get through the end phases here. So, all right, so we finished the action phase. We have 2 turn ends markers pulled. So now we go into the final phases here. So first off, there's a build phase. This is where you can build the walls in the different areas. Excuse me. The temples, or you can build the Aurelian walls around Rome. Each of them costs 3 coins. And now remember, they give different bonuses, right? So the walls are going to give you, once they're finished, so as you're building them, and when they're finished, they'll help you with defense. When they're finished, they'll help with your victory points. Temples, it's going to help you with income and victory points when they're finished, as well as helping to actually remove enemy units that are in the region as well. So basically it helps, and it's Sol Invictus. If you don't know your history, for Aurelian, it was Sol Invictus. He was trying to get 1 religion to unite the empire. He thought that they needed 1 religion, so it was Sol Invictus. That's what he was built a lot of temples to them all over the place. So right now I'm looking at it. We have 5. It costs 3 each. We have 5. So let's go ahead and let's spend 1, 2, 3. So down to 2. Let's spend 3 on trying to build a temple. So we have our temple at start. You go ahead and place it. I'm going to put them in the green region here. Well, should I do it in green region? Actually, no, I should do it over in, let's see, I'm going to do it in the red region, excuse me. So basically I'm starting with Italy. Go ahead and build a temple. It's on the start side. And the next turn, you can't do it in the same turn. You spend 3 more coins, or in a future turn, and you can do it on the finish side. So we're going to go ahead and start it on the start side here. So that costs us 3 coins. We're down to 2. Because we only have 2 left, we can't do any more building, unfortunately, because everything costs 3. So now we go on to the levy phase. Now you get a possible free levy. You look at your friendly cup. You draw from it. If it had a enemy unit with a strength side, the combat value CV, you could add that to your Danube front forces, or you could gain 1 victory point. However, this one is just the Confed, Confederation, Barbarian Confederation shit, so it's going to go into the dead pool. Now you can pay as well to add troops to your Danube, which we have 2 treasuries. So let's go ahead and spend, well, yeah, let's spend 2. So we'll go down to 0, and we're going to add forces to our to the Danube here. So let's go ahead and put that extra legion we bought. Let's put them here at the 8th spot, down at the far right flank of the Danube here. So just to buff it up a little bit here. And we may reorganize here in the future. We probably will. So, all right, now that's the levy phase. So now you go to the dead pool phase. So you're resolving the dead pool, which again, if you play the previous games, can be very similar. You check the areas. You're looking at whether there is, well, before resolving the dead pool, we look at de-escalation. Excuse me. So de-escalation is you look at the areas on the map. If there's a usurper there, so Zenobia and Posthumus are still alive, no de-escalation, so all the units, all the chits stay where they are. Nothing changes. If there are finished temples in an area, you're going to remove the top unit from every box. Football remaining to the resistance side. Otherwise, remove the top unit from every box with 2+ units. The only thing we have is in Rome here. There's 2 units on the resistance side, so we're going to go ahead and remove the top one, put it in the dead pool. Additionally, you'd remove the top remaining unit in any box occupied by Aurelian or an officer if he was in a region without a usurper. So right now it would be green or red. Now you go ahead and you look, you check your regions, make sure if there is, say there's no usurper, and so the 2 regions are green and red, they don't have usurpers. If 3 or more boxes have enemy units, you actually go ahead and you add a usurper. So you have the unnamed usurpers, chits, over here on the right-hand side. You go ahead and put them in those regions, and they would kind of start taking over. Fortunately for us, doesn't apply. Same time, if one of our usurpers, including Posthumus and Zenobia, if they were down to only 1 area with units, we'd actually be able to remove them from the game and flip those enemy units to resistant. Fortunately, they still are max strength basically because I didn't even touch them, so no worries there. All right, now we resolve the dead pool. So you go ahead and check the pool. With these named usurpers, Zenobia and Posthumus, they stay in here. If you have any other usurpers, the unnamed ones, they would go to the side of the map here to show it's obviously you've killed them. Any barbarian chits, which is a big stack of them here. The Confederation chit, which we drew here. The Sassanids, nope, they're still somewhere in one of the cups. And then the turn end markers, so both of these go to the hostile cup. Now you look at the units. All we have in here right now are red units, which they are in an enemy-free region. However, there's no finished temple, so they go to the unfriendly cup. If there was a finished temple, remember we just started it, so it's not finished yet, they would actually go to the friendly cup. Unfortunately, they're going to go to unfriendly for now. They're still not fully convinced that Aurelian's the guy, so they just don't know me yet. All right, now we go into the taxation phase. You look at where your income is at, which our income starts at 13, and we were not able to move it up at all at this point. So we go ahead and set our treasury marker, which was at 0. We're going to go ahead and move it up to 13. So now we have the same treasury as income. Now, the way this game works, you don't add it. So it's not, say we're at 2 treasury, 2 coins, and we have our income of 13. Do we go to 15? Nope. Our treasury still only goes to income. That's to represent inflation, the poor coinage of the time. In fact, the empire is split in 3. Just a lot of those factors are abstracted out so that you just would only gain to what your actual current income is. So, all right, bummer, right? So we're at 13 right now. Now we go ahead and reduce our treasury by our total legion strength on the Danube. Got to pay for those troops that are manning the frontier. Thankfully, we don't have to pay for Posthumus's 2 legions, so it's just our legions. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So our treasury goes from 13 to 7. Not too bad, actually. Let's go ahead and now we can initiate reforms, which are reforms that are going to try to recover our currency a little bit. So if you have it available, which we do, we're going to go ahead and actually we should wait. No, we're going to do it. So we'll spend 2 coins. We'll drop down to 5 coins to go ahead and increase our income from 13 to 15. Goes up by 2. So that just means now future turns we're going to get that much more money each turn. And a big part of this game is you're going to want to keep increasing your income to make sure you have enough money to pay for building projects, to recruit new troops, etc., etc. So, all right. Now we're going to check the turn end phase here. We're going to check our victory points. If there's a named usurper in the dead pool, none. So no points there. How many enemy free regions you have? No, no, no. Green is enemy free, so we get 1 victory point for that. We check the finished wall markers. We have no finished walls. Check for finished temples. None, because we just have this 1 temple. Oh, where we started the temple here in Italy. So not finished though, so it doesn't count. Check for see if any officers. These are the white eagles over here. We did not recruit any officers. That reduces your army strength, and we're only at 1, so I didn't want to do that. Now, speaking of army, point of army strength. We have 1 army strength, so that goes up by 1, so it goes to 2. Now we check per 5 coins in the treasury, rounding down. We have 6 coins, or excuse me, with 5 coins exactly. So we get 1 victory point for that. So we go to 3 victory points. So we end turn 1 with 3 victory points, which if you look down on the turn track, there's a number 3, which means we needed 3 victory points to be able to make it to turn 2. Thankfully, we just squeezed by. So now we're going to go ahead and move over to turn 2. However, as we're doing that, we have final turn end cup adjustments. So you go ahead and grab your friendly cup. If there's 2 left, which we have exactly 2 left, we put them in the unfriendly. Now we take unfriendly, and we take 2 out of there and put them in the hostile. And then, whatever turn number it is, that's the amount of hostile reactions you then do. So, it's turn 1. So let's say it was turn 1. So that's why you actually don't remove it until after, I guess. So turn 1, we resolve 1 hostile, which we have this barbarian unit right here. So roll, he's going to attack 4, which is right here. It's going to attack area 4. We have our 1 unit. So we're going to roll, I need to roll at least a 4 because we need to get higher. All right, we rolled a 3, which 3 plus 1 is 4. We tied him. Barbarians win ties, so he takes over this area. That means barbarians control 3 spots on the Danube, which means we lose the game. So that's Aurelian, Restorer of the World. All right, so you guys got a pretty good view of the game. I was planning to do a full playthrough, and then I said, yeah, as it was going, I'm like, I don't know if we'll survive that well. We're not doing too well, so I don't think I'm gonna do a full playthrough here. And then we ended up doing a full playthrough because we lost. So that is just an example of the difficulty of this game. Now, the good things about the game and kind of the iffy things about the game. There's a lot of good to talk about the game. So let me kind of start with some of the iffy stuff. Some of the rolls with the randomness, it seems a little high. So, for instance, as you saw, right, you're doing a lot of rolling where you have your 1d8 and you're tacked on the Danube, and you may have 1 army, 1 legion, you may have 2 legions, you may have up to 3. That's a max of 3. Well, if you're attacked by, say, this barbarian that's at a 7, you have a 2 there. There's a big chance, depending on the die roll, you may or may not make it. Now, if that happens, say you have 3. And now I go ahead and I can roll 1, 2, 3, or 4. Now, even if I roll up to a 4, I tie him, barbarian still defeats me. Now, I lose 3 legions. Those 3 legions, remember, each one costs 2 coins, and you don't have a lot of spare coins. In fact, you need damn near every spare coin to build infrastructure, right? Temples, walls, or recruit. But you need to be able to recruit enough so you have enough to not only have forces on the Danube, but also army strength. Now, let me just say this. I have won this game before. Actually won it earlier today. It is not impossible to win. But I think a little bit of the downside to it is the fact that, and I hate to say this because normally I love rolling dice, some of the randomness with, looking at maybe you have a very, if you roll a 1, you lose everything, right? Like that, what happened earlier where I rolled a 1 and it nulls all my modifiers and I automatically basically have the worst result. I don't know how fair that is. I don't know what the odds were, especially if the game is supposed to be, hey, you're representing Aurelian, Restorer of the World, someone who was the Restorer of the World, right? He wasn't just an average emperor, an average general. He was one of the best of the best. Okay, so that's kind of my one, I think, real complaint is just some of the randomness. Sometimes the game comes down to this die roll. And sometimes that's in a fun way, right? But sometimes then it's a not so fun way where you're on a roll, things are looking good, relatively. And one bad die roll can ruin everything. Ooh, that's sometimes be a little tough to swallow, especially because as far as I know, and I'm like I said, I played the game a bunch now. I have won the game. I don't really know. There's not a lot of dice mitigation, not a lot of luck mitigation. You do your thing. You build up your forces here and there wherever you can. But when a battle like that happens, there's no, hey, I'm going to discard something or I'm going to reduce my money to, quick bribe them. Something like that, right? Like, oh, maybe you can emergency bribe, drop 3 coins, and you can actually bribe barbarians into fleeing the battlefield, and you win it, and you don't lose your legions. Maybe something like that to balance out the luck. So that's my one real complaint. The good things. There's a lot of good things. component-wise, game looks great on the map looks good, all the components look good, they're very clear, very easy to read, you have no problems playing. You get through 1 or 2 games, you're going to be knocking out game after game, which, tied into that, the speed of the game. It's sped way up. So Agricola Master of Britain was a really good game. However, one thing that dragged it down was the combat. The combat, although fun in its own unique kind of tactical maneuvering the forces around. If you played it, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't played it, basically it was like a grid. You would line up the enemy, you line up your guys, and you would kind of attack one, this, back and forth. You'd maneuver to fill up the holes, and you'd go back and forth. A lot of dice rolling to resolve every single combat. No more of that. It is now, you're doing a campaign against the barbarians, rolling the campaign table. You're doing I know maybe you might not quite be able to see it on the camera. The camera may have moved a little bit here, but you can see the battle table is up here. So this is when you're doing the battles. Say I had gone in as Aurelian. I had gone into Gaul over here, and I attacked him. I do the same thing like usual. Like you guys probably know now. 1d8 plus my army plus Aurelian against 2, and 1 is 3 against 3. So go ahead and try to roll higher than 3. Hey, what do you know? I did it. Boom, I won the battle. Done. Right? A battle takes 10 seconds as opposed to 5 minutes. Because of that, you can fly through this game. I played like 4 today. I played this game like 4 times today, and not all of them ended after the first turn. I swear. Again, one of them I won today. I swear. So no video proof of it, but it did happen. So that's an example of a couple of the good things. Love the chits, love the cup adjustments. I mean, yes, there's a little bit of randomness to that, but unlike some of the dice rolling where it feels like one die roll can make or break you, with the chits, you know what you're getting into. You know that you're building up your unfriendly, which then is building up the hostile cup. You know that as the hostile cup empties, so those forces get deployed against you, right? So out here in the east, out here in the west, northwest, suddenly you're kind of losing. Suddenly you may not have enough chits in the hostile cup. And you may think, well, what's wrong with that? What's wrong with that, Wayne? Well, then you're only going to have those, remember the turn end chits? You're going to have them in there. My last game, towards the end, I only had you put your the barbarian chits go back in there. But say you let them build up in the pools. If they never attack you, they're going to build up. You're going to have only the turn end chits and a few other chits in that hostile cup. You're only going to get a few actions, and suddenly your turn's over. And that's bad, because generally you're going to need as many actions as you can get within a reason, of course. So balancing the chit cups from friendly, unfriendly to hostile, great part of it. As well as you and we didn't get into it because we only played through the first turn before we lost, but as you get into the temples and you get them built, now remember we had a couple guys that were in the couple red guys that were in the Deadpool. With that temple being finished, when they died, instead of going into the unfriendly cup, they would have went into the friendly cup. So say you take over, Gaul and Britannia, you kill Posthumus, you take over the blue area. Well, now, and you go ahead and you build a temple there, boom. All those blue guys, as they start coming back out, and they'll start coming back because say you have to defeat them to be able to take over the area. Okay, well, they'll pop back out on the map soon enough. Well, if you have a temple and it's finished, not only is he going to convert them automatically, but ones that are defeated in the Deadpool are going to go into the friendly cup again. Or to start with. So, you have a way to balance it, right? You have a way to counteract what's in which cup, who your enemies are, and deal with that. At the same time, you say, well, money with the treasure and income, that's hard to balance. It is. You're not going to have enough money no matter what. But now I made this attempt in this game. You saw me, even though I failed miserably, which was I was trying to get coins. Because the game that I won, I got extra coins by defeating, I let the barbarians build up to 2 or 3. And one of them actually was 7 when I defeated him. So I rolled really well, which I was able to get 4 coins. I think it was, I took a loss in my army, but I got 4 coins, which is big time. You're going to want to challenge them. You're going to want to conduct those campaigns. And that ties back into the actions. I mentioned this at the very beginning. It's like a sandbox game. You can suppress the enemy. You can do battle with them. You can placate them, which moves chits from unfriendly to friendly. You can redeploy your forces. you can go ahead and assign officers, which reduces your army, but you go ahead and put an officer on the map. This officer can then go around and take certain actions. Can't take as many as Aurelian, and he's not as good at it, but he can take some. You can go campaigns against the barbarians, do battle. You can siege areas, and you can march, which is just, you know, movement, better movement. But there's a bunch of different actions, and it's up to you and how you want to play. Some of the actions I don't do a whole lot because for my play style, I do other ones, and that's what works for me. And I was able to win the game doing my actions, but maybe you have a different way to win the game. So hopefully I've really explained the game well. You may not be able to play it straight up from my little tutorial here. I was hoping to maybe get a couple turns in, but I think this will be good enough. Let's go ahead and call this a video. I gave a one-turn playthrough, explained everything as I went. Now I gave you my final thoughts, my review. So, final thoughts. Obviously, I really like this game. I'm not just saying that. I really enjoy it. I liked Agricola, Master of Britain, and I really like this one. I think it's a great solitaire game, and in fact, I'd say I like it better than Agricola. I know it's new, so it's still got that, you know, new game, new fresh smell on it. But I really like the fact that the game plays so quickly. Unlike Agricola, which gets bogged down a little bit with the combat. In this one, some randomness aside with dice rolling, which, hey, if you have dice, there's going to be some randomness. It is going to hurt you sometimes. That's just the way it is. There's also times we're going to roll really well. And you probably won't be complaining then about the dice, right? You'll say, oh no, these dice are great. It's great that I keep rolling an 8 every time. No big deal. So, that said, really good game. If the theme interests you, if you like a good solitaire war game that's not complex, right? You saw how I played it. I played it pretty quick. I sat there talking the whole time. Still played through it pretty quick. You guys should be able to fly through a game. Once you're comfortable with it, play through 2-3 games. You're going to be flying. You won't even need to reference the rule book. You're going to have the player aids set up. Come with the game are great, and that's one thing I didn't really mention, the components. The fact that this time around, unlike with Agricola, this comes with player aids. Beautiful, well done. They're in order. You go ahead and you follow through exactly what to do. They're all in order according to the sequence of play. Not a problem. Leaves very little out. There's a couple small things you want to make sure you reference the rulebook for when you first play, so you're first learning the game. Other than that, is once you know the small little rules, the player aid's going to take care of you. So, hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Hope you guys enjoyed learning about Aurelian, Restore of the World by Tom Russell, published by Hollandspiele. Please check the game out. See if you like it. If you have any interest after my review here, I definitely suggest this one. Big recommendation from me. Thanks to everyone if you've made it this far. Thank you. Please comment below. Let me know what you think about the game. Let me know what else I should check out. Other than that, until next time, guys. Later.